What are we excited about today? Are you guys excited about your businesses? Are you excited, or is there anything that you're excited about?
I'm excited about learning.
Okay, cool, cool. Well, that's one of the reasons why I joined Keller Williams, because I've been an agent for 5 years. I've been with Keller Williams 3.5 now, but I went through some other brokerages where they just threw me out there. I didn't know how to write a real estate contract. I didn't know how to take a listing. I didn't know anything about the real estate business because they don't teach you that in that online course that you take to get your license. So that was the main reason that I came over to Keller Williams, because although sometimes it can be overwhelming, the amount of information that they give us, we have that amount of information. So we just have to take our time, get through it, and anything and everything you need to run your business is there. So today we're going to focus on how to cultivate your leads into seller opportunities. So what I'm going to do is share my screen so you guys can see the PowerPoint presentation. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry, guys, I'm not that tech savvy. Okay. Share screen. Wait. I'm gonna start. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here's the secret to being successful. Hold on 1 second. Let's see, guys. Here's the secret to being a successful real estate agent. There is no secret. Success leaves clues. Deidre says this all the time. I know you guys have heard her say that. Success leaves clues. So we know exactly what successful agents do every day. Everyday agents do 2 types of activities. They grow their business and they run their business. Okay, in ways that we grow our business, we do lead generation for buyers and sellers. Who's doing their lead generating right now?
Me.
I am.
Give me some examples of what you're doing to lead generate.
Dropping cars off if I see any new construction going on in the houses. So when they're getting ready to put it on the market, they can just give me a call.
Okay. Anybody else?
Making the daily phone calls.
Okay. Who can tell me why it's important to lead generate? Why is lead generating important to your business?
So that you will have business to run. It'll be the same thing as if you were a salaried employee. You continually have streams of income coming in because you've done what you need to do to create an opportunity for our listing.
And what does Gary tell us? He tells us that if you don't lead generate, then you don't even need to have a business, right? Because if you don't lead generate, you won't have any business. Okay. Successful agents also make seller listing presentations and they get listings. They make buyer presentations and they get listings. Tell me who does a buyer presentation. Is everyone doing their buyer presentation?
Yes.
Okay, are we doing our listing presentations? Do you guys have a listing presentation?
I am working on mine.
Okay, okay. All right, and then successful agents preview real estate to grow their business. Is everyone previewing real estate? I know before all this happened, we had broker tours every Tuesday, but is everyone going and viewing properties online now? And we're
I
looking at,
am.
okay, good. And we're looking at all the new listings as they come up every day.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, successful agents run their business by marketing seller listings. Excuse me. We show buyers houses. We negotiate contracts. We do transaction management to closing. We do vendor management. Is everyone basically cultivating their vendors during this time?
I am. I just spoke with a security company. I have a listing. It's not up yet, but it's going to need a security system. And I was talking to a vendor. I asked for promotional items to put at the property. And I asked them about if they worked with agents, if they had any type of I guess perks that they offer to agents for bringing them business. So I'm cultivating more vendor relationships right now for me right now than client relationships than buyer seller. It's just easier because when you're talking to vendors on the phone, I'm gathering information. Because some of the buyer seller information, interest rates and things like that are still sort of fluctuating. So I'm concentrating more on vendor relationships right now, lenders and other vendors.
Well, that's good. And you can also ask your vendors for referrals. Okay. I mean, we give them a lot of business, then, we want them to help us in return as well. So don't be afraid to ask your vendors for referrals.
Yes, absolutely.
And then also, I think, I can't remember who it was, but they also had a good idea a couple of days ago to also take your vendors out on your dime. Because I honestly, I can say I'm guilty of this because the only really relationship I've had with my vendors is when I needed something. I send them business, so they're getting something from me. But as far as if I had a function, they pay for it, and they take me to lunch. I've never taken a vendor out on my dime, so that's something that I'm going to start doing once this pandemic is over. We also set goals every day. Are we setting our goals every day? Okay. We do compliance and risk management, and of course we have Joyce to help us with that. We attend training and get coaching, which is what we're doing now. And then we also need to, successful agents manage their money every day. So what we say from Gary Keller is that we lead by expenses and we lead by revenue and not expenses. Are you guys familiar with the red light, green light principle? Okay. All right. Okay. Basically what that is if you get ready to make an expense, and if you have the money to do it, go ahead and do it. If you don't, don't. Okay. So you want to lead by revenue, and you make sure that that revenue that you spend on those expenses gives you a return on your investment. Okay. All right. What we'll focus on today to grow our business is lead generation for buyers and sellers. We want to understand the importance of our database. Do you guys know that the database is the root of all your business, correct? So
Yes.
what we want to do is take advantage of our sphere of influence And that will allow us to launch into other methods to grow and run our business. Okay, our goal for today is to teach you the skills you need to go from having a contact in your sphere of influence to setting a listing appointment. Okay, so the agenda for today is we want to find seller leads, which includes understanding the seller's motivation. We want to qualify and convert seller leads. We want to pre-qualify our sellers. Then we want to do the pre-listing questionnaire presentation. We're going to discuss successful habits, and then at the end we'll do a recap. Okay. In order to work with sellers, we need to find seller leads. So let's learn more about where we can find sellers. Who knows good places? I'm sorry, let me back up. Who knows good places where we can find sellers?
For sale by owner sign.
That's a good one. Anywhere else?
Expired.
Expires, that's a good one. Anywhere else?
Your sphere of influence. And
That's a
do you
big
know anyone? Are you ready? You know, I saw you, or not even I saw you, but call or check in on your past clients and see what's going on in their lives. If they're
Right.
not ready, maybe they have children that they're ready to kick out.
Mhm. You can also scour for sale by owner websites, because those websites, FSBO.com, for sale by owner.com, those are sellers who already, you know, they want to sell their house, right? So,
Yeah.
and you don't have to really skip trace or anything to look for their phone numbers, because 9 times out of 10, their phone numbers are right there. You can also go to the parish websites for the clerk of court's office, and you can look for, you can look up the cases by category. So you can look for divorces, because people who get divorced need to sell. I look for successions. They post the successions there. You can find that by category. And right now, Jefferson Parish, you have to pay for that service. But if we weren't in this time, you could go to the courthouse and pull that information and use their computers and do it. But right now, Orleans Parish is offering their service for free. But usually it's about $25 for a session, but right now it's free. So you can go and look up successions, and it'll give you the property address and property description, and then you can contact those heirs. This is outside the scope of what we're doing today, but if you contact me later, I'll show you how to do that and how to find those people, okay? And like I said, divorces, you can look and see, and you can even see where they are. If there's a partition that has been filed, it will have the address there. Can anybody else think of anywhere else you can find seller leads? Well, you also want to make sure that you are constantly in contact with your database. That's a gold mine of seller leads. You can take your past clients or seller leads, maybe 5-7 years down the road. So you want to keep in touch with them. And also, you know, your friends, your family, anybody you know, call them up, take them out to lunch or coffee. You know, at least once a week, you need to be taking somebody out. Not right now. Now you can do a Zoom coffee. Saturday night we had a Zoom club. A friend of mine threw a club party. It was wild. But anyway, so just make sure you stay in contact with your database. Okay.
So Benita, this is Nicole. I just posted. There are sources if people for particularly expireds and withdrawn listings, if people wanted to find out where to get seller contact information.
Okay.
There's an app called Ben Verified. You can also do a white pages, and there's another search called Fast People Search where you can obtain contact information.
Good. And I'm glad you put that. Fast People Search is awesome. It is awesome. I mean, it gives you, if these people have been living in 27 different addresses, it gives you them all, and it gives you, you know, as many phone numbers as they can find. So, but I really love that, and it's free. Fast People Search is free. Okay. Thanks, Nicole. Okay, but before you call these people that you don't know, you want to make sure that you're not violating the do not call registry. Okay. I have to move some of these things also. I looked up the law last night because what I normally do is I just scrub my list before I call. But in looking this up, it says that you have to register. So you have to subscribe to the registry, and this is what it looks like. You go to, that's the website here, donotcall.gov, and then you click, and you'll get this screen where it says register new users. You just click right here and you register. If you register up to 5 zip codes, it's free. Okay? But you don't want to be contacting people who are on the do not call registry because you can be sued, okay? And what you want to do is you want to update your calls regularly to make sure that these people aren't on the list. If they are not on the list and you call them and they say, look, don't call me anymore, you have to stop calling them, okay? Even if they're not registered and they're not on the list, if they say, I don't want you to call me or take me off your list, I don't know where you got my phone number from, just take them off your list and don't call those people again. You need to understand the state and federal laws, check before you call, and you, like I said, honor the consumer's request. This is the database that I use. Trying to get you guys back. Okay. It's free. So what you do is you create your list of people that you want to call. I do mine in Excel so that I can manipulate the data. But once you create your list in Excel, you have to convert it to a CSV file. And then you can click browse right here. Upload your list, check that you're not a robot, and it will come back with a report and tell you if any of the numbers that are on your list are on the do not call list, then you can just remove those people from your list, okay? You can contact people that are on the do not call registry if you've done business with them, okay? So just because they're on the list doesn't mean that you can't contact them if you've done business with them. I think you get up to 18 months. It's 18 months. So you can continue to call them and contact them for up to 18 months after you've had some type of business transaction with these people. I don't know if you guys pay for seller leads or whatever, but if someone contacts you or if someone contacts you through your app, then you can contact them even though they're on the do not call list. Okay, so there are some exceptions. But just to show you how serious this is, if you call somebody that's on the do not call list, especially after they've told you not to, you can be fined up to $42,530, okay, per call. Just last month, a district judge concluded that DISH had violated the do not call registry more than 65 million times, and their penalty, $280 million. So it's serious. The do not call registry applies to not only phone calls, but text messages. I know you guys, some people do SMS blast. Nicole has a really good system that she uses to email a bunch of people at one time. But if these people are on the do not call registry list, you can't text them either. It's not just limited to phone calls. Okay. Okay, so find seller leads. Like we said, database, the daily 10-4. What's your number one job as a real estate agent? Does anybody know?
Generate leads.
Lead generation, lead generation, lead generation, okay? Using your database in the daily 10-4, you have a great opportunity to find seller leads. Also, nobody said this, but open houses are a good place to find seller leads. You can, they say for every listing, you should be able to get two pieces of buyer business from every listing that you have. when you do open houses, people come to see the house. They're coming, most of them, to buy a house. So even if they don't buy that house, then you can add these people to your database and market to them to sell them some other houses. Okay. And like we said, always leveraging your sphere of influence is a great way to build referral business. You guys, you know how to get to your toolkit? Does everybody have their toolkit?
Yes.
Okay. Well, there's an open house job aid in your toolkit that can help you with your open houses. Okay, and then next we need to qualify and convert our seller leads. Okay, and right now what we're going to do is switch gears a little bit and learn about what comes after generating leads, which is connecting, pre-qualifying, and converting your leads into seller listings and listing appointments, okay? What would you do if one of your leads told you that they had somebody or that they're interested in selling their house? What would you do?
Get that person's contact. Well, do you mind if I ask you for your friend or your, if they say my friend's thinking about selling, do you mind if I ask you, or can you have your friend call me? Or do you mind if I get their number or their contact information?
Okay, good. Now, what if you're someone in your sphere of influence said, hey, Giara, I want to sell my house. What would you do?
I'll say, great, let's get started. Information.
So what would you want to do? Get with them, right? Connect with them and just make sure that they understand that you're their realtor of choice, right?
Yeah, I'll set up an appointment and do kind of a listing presentation for them, reviewing everything, forms and documentation, making sure they understand the process and also their legal obligation as a seller.
Okay, and then you want to get to where? The listing presentation, right?
Yes.
Okay, and so what are we going to do before we go on a listing presentation? Does anyone know?
Research.
That's a good one, research, because you want to have what?
Some comps in mind.
Okay, okay. Now, let's say I'm your seller and okay, we have a listing presentation scheduled for tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Okay, what are you going to do before the presentation?
I'm gonna drive by the house. I'd like to drive by sometimes just so I can see it visibly to myself, so I can even just see the quality of the home. You can tell by sometimes just by driving by if it's good, fair, or poor condition, and that'll give me an idea of the neighborhood as well, to see what other homes are on the market too.
Okay. And now tomorrow at 3 o'clock when you come to my house, what if I say, oh, my husband's not here? Then you've done what?
Well, I will review some of the information, but hopefully I would have gotten a time that was best for both of them prior to me coming over there. But if something happens and he's not available, I'll review the information with her and then ask when is a good time that the husband is there. We can view it again together.
Okay. So what you've done then is what? Now you got to come back?
Yeah.
Which is a what?
Waste my time.
Okay.
Well, that's why I said I would have set it up at the beginning with both of them. I wouldn't have, went with just her.
Okay, so once we connect and determine that our seller is ready, willing, and able to sell, we want to set that listing appointment. But before you do that, we really want to pre-qualify our sellers, okay? So, I'm sorry, that wasn't mine.
In other words, make sure that they are able to sell. They are the people that are able to list this house.
Well, you definitely want to know that because
Yeah.
you don't want to be selling somebody else's house.
Right.
But so you what you want to do is you want to call them beforehand and pre-qualify them to make sure when you go out there, you're going out there to get the paperwork signed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so call them and you ask them some connecting questions that answer the who, what, where, when, why, and how, okay? So you want to get details. First of all, not only is this going to pre-qualify them and make sure you're not wasting your time, but you also get this information and you can add that to your database, okay? So you can say, If you would, please tell me a little bit about your family, job, life, which is the Ford method, right? And as they're telling you this, enter this information into your database, and you can, you know, if you get their anniversary information or their spouse's name, their birth dates, you can add all that information and then send them things throughout the year to let them know you're thinking about them. You can set this up automatically in Command, okay? You want to assess their wants, needs, and plans. You know, what are you looking for? What do you want to do? You know, pinpoint their location. Where would you like to buy? Where is your home located? Where are they going to go once you sell their house? Okay. And then you also want to spend a lot of time learning their motivation. You know, ask, well, why are you moving? Okay. If they say, well, my husband got a job in Texas and we have to be there in 30 days, then that lets you know how fast you need to move. Okay. That leads me to my next point is you want to get a feeling for their timeline. When would you like to do this? You know, we all know that it can take anywhere from 30, 45, 60 days to sell a house. So if they tell you that they need to move, then you need to, you know, get that house sold before they go. And then you want to assess their expectations. How do you plan to do this? You always want to make sure that you kind of manage expectations by knowing what they want to do, when they want to do, how they want to do it, because you don't ever want an agent to walk away from the transaction disappointed because, oh, I was expecting this and this is what I got. Okay. What are some other examples of connecting with sellers? Can you think of any? Can you think of any other connecting questions that you could ask a seller?
What is the feature they liked most about the house?
That's good, because that can help you market to your buyer. Anybody else?
Do they know anyone that might be looking to move to the neighborhood?
Okay. And there's an agent in California that I follow on Instagram, and she has a lot of great ideas. Her name is Rachel Adams Lee. And she always, she door knocks and she says, you know, hey, I listed this house, your neighbor's house or whatever, and I thought you might want to take the opportunity to pick your neighbor. You know, a lot of people want their family and their friends in their area. So, and that would lead into what you just said. You know, what do you like most about this neighborhood? You know, okay. There are seller lead categories, just like buyers. You know, you qualify your buyers A, B, and C. We qualify our sellers A, B, and C. An A seller is somebody that's able, ready, and willing to do business in the next 10 to 14 days. So on your action plan, what you would do with that person is you daily follow up to secure that appointment. Okay. What would you do if you had a seller? They know, you know, I want to sell my house. At least I want to be under contract in 10 days. But I'm going to interview 3 agents. What would you do? You want to go first or you want to go last? Nicole?
First, right?
Yeah, you want to go first. You want to wow them and knock their socks off. And then you want to get them to cancel all those other agents. Okay. And if they're not comfortable doing that, we have scripts that will, you can tell the seller, you know, I know you're not comfortable. You may not feel comfortable calling them, but, you know, you've hired me today, get them to sign. And then I will call those other agents and tell them that, you know, my seller really liked you, but they've decided to list with me, but I'd be happy to share my commission with you if you bring me a buyer. Okay. B sellers are able, ready, and willing to do business in the next 15 to 60 days. So what we're going to do with them is put them in our database, and we're going to call them every 2 to 3 days, or at the very least once a week. C sellers are able, ready, and willing to do business in 61 or more days. So what we're going to do with them is put them in our database and call them monthly. Okay, categorizing your leads like that helps you to follow up with in order of priority, and it helps you get the listing. And let's see, it helps you get the listing. But what I don't want you to do is focus solely on the A sellers and forget about B and C. Okay, you want to continue to cultivate B and C. It's just like with the buyer. You might get a buyer that walks in the door and they have less than stellar credit. You don't want to forget about that buyer. You want to, cultivate the A buyers, but you also want to keep up with the C buyers, because sooner or later they're going to buy, and you don't want them buying with somebody else. Okay. If you score a seller as a C seller, what can you do to ensure that you can keep up with them or keep in touch with them?
That's where your command or your drip campaign would help you to stay in touch with that person.
That's great. You want to put them on a drip campaign. You can put them in a smart plan in command, and you can also create a landing page for them on your website. Command has this new feature that they came out with last year, where every individual seller that you have has their own landing page. And then you can set it up with the neighborhoods where they live. You can also set it up with the neighborhoods where they want to move. And then periodically it will send them information. If like I said, as far as the seller side, it will send them comp information on a house just sold in your neighborhood and it sold for this much. On the buyer side, these are houses that have gone on the market in the areas that you're interested in. Okay, now we're gonna do a little role play. What I want you to do is, I need 2 volunteers. Volunteers, don't make me call on you.
Goodness, I will
Okay, who else?
think.
I can't see.
I'll do it if you need somebody to.
Okay. All right, well, I need somebody to be the buyer and somebody to be the seller, and then I want you to call them on the phone and pre-qualify them for your listing appointment.
Oh, well, I'll be the seller.
You guys have your or your participant guide. If you don't have it up, this is where you can find it in your toolkit. And then that's what the pre-listing questionnaire is. So you don't have to, if you don't have it in front of you, you can just look on the screen and ask these questions.
That's so neat. All right, at the end of your presentation, will we get a copy of this? Or we could go back and see it after it's over?
Oh, if you want me to send you a copy of the PowerPoint, I will.
Okay, thank you.
Just shoot me an email, benitawatson@kw.com.
Okay.
But your pre-listing questionnaire is in your toolkit.
Right, it's in the toolkit. I just showed you the link for that. Let me see.
Okay.
I can send it in the recap email.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Ring, ring, ring. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes. So I'm the buyer.
I'm the, wait, who's the,
You
I'm the seller, right?
Pick a role.
Tanda, you be the seller.
Okay.
So I'm the buyer. So you're calling me. Okay.
Wait a minute. You the,
Somebody needs to be the seller, somebody needs to be the agent.
okay, right.
Right.
Okay, so I guess I'm the agent asking the pre-listing questions.
Yes.
Okay. And what is your name?
Tonda.
Tonda?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, Tonda. Anything. Okay. Hi, Tonda. My name is Dottie.
Hi, Dottie.
Hi. I just have a few qualifying questions before we meet with each other next week. How did you hear about my company?
Well, I mean, I see Keller Williams signs all around the city, so I just felt like that would be a good company to possibly go with.
Okay. Where are you moving to?
I am moving back home to Michigan to be closer to family.
Okay. That's a good thing to do right now. What's motivating you to, I'm sorry, you said that you are moving to Michigan to be with your family, that's correct?
Yes.
Okay. How soon do you have to be there?
Well, I'm not really in a rush, but obviously sooner rather than later to be there with them. I don't really have a timeline.
Okay. All right. If we sell your home in the next 30 days, will that pose a problem for you?
Like what kind of problem?
With your timeline to be in Michigan?
No, because it's not really a rush. If you sell it within the 30 days, then I have to stay with probably my mom, but that wouldn't be a problem.
Okay. All right. So you would need a home if I sold it that fast. You would need, you may need a place to stay?
Well, I could start off with my mom until I found something that I wanted to buy.
Okay. What would happen if your home did not sell in 30 days?
It wouldn't really be a big deal. Because like I said, I'm not really pressed for time. I mean, I would love to get there sooner rather than later, but it's not, it wouldn't be.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. How much do you want to list your home for?
Well, I want to try to get the most that I can get. I know a neighbor down the street, they sold theirs for $250. So if I could get, I'd be happy with, $250 or more if possible.
Okay, that sounds good. How much do you owe on your property?
I'm not 100% sure. I guess that's something I need to know right now, especially with me wanting to list, but I can find that out for you.
Okay. Okay, so I'll be sending you a packet of information. Will you take a few minutes to review it before we meet?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, do you have any questions before we meet?
Not right now. I'll think about it and let you know. I'll let you know when we meet.
Okay, will all the decision makers be there when we meet?
Well, it's just me.
Okay, you're the only one on the house.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Just we'll be meeting next week on Wednesday, the 18th, between 9:30 and 9:45. About 30 minutes.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. I'll see you then.
Okay. Thank you. I look forward to meeting you Wednesday on the 18th between 9:30 and 9:45.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good
Bye-bye.
job. Good job, guys. Good job. Do you guys have any aha moments that you got from that?
When she asked whether or not I had any more questions before we meet, typically what types of questions would clients have?
Well, first thing, I'm glad you brought us to that point, because the first thing that I would do when she said that was say, you know what, I know that right now you may not have any questions, but if you get some, or if you think of something after we hang up, jot those down, because she's not going to remember what her questions are at that listing appointment, okay? So you just want to remind her, as questions come up in your head, jot them down so that I can address those with you when we meet tomorrow. Some questions that a seller might ask you is, well, how much is your commission? Or they might try to get you to reduce your commission. They may ask you, how long have you been in the business? To figure out whether or not you are the expert in the neighborhood and if you know what you're doing. you will have hopefully sent a pre-listing packet beforehand. So that like right after you get off this call, you might want to just have a courier drop off your pre-listing packet for them to review it. In there, you would have your bio and your stats and what you're going to do to get their home sold fast for the least amount of money. And hopefully any questions that they may have will be answered by them just reviewing the pre-listing packet. Okay. Any other comments?
Do you like to add the paperwork for the contract in your listing agreement, your pre-listing packet?
I don't. Nicole, do you do that?
No, I don't.
Okay. No,
Oh.
I don't. I don't do that. But in your listing appointment, you may want to go over the contract with them. Just like in your buyer's appointment, I take the buyers through all 9 pages of the contract, line by line, so they understand when we're in the process of negotiating and things are going very quickly, you need to know what you're signing because I'm going to need you to sign fast. Okay.
Okay. Can you tell me what? I'm sorry. Well, can you tell me what do you put in your presentation, your pre-listing presentation package?
We're going to get there.
Okay.
We're going to get there.
One other thing, Dottie, when at the very end, one of the things you want to be definite on time, you gave her a range. You want to be specific so that you can be there at 9:30 because you want to show that you're punctual and that you have an appointment at 9:30. So in the future, be more specific. Just wanted to give you that tip.
That's a great idea.
Okay.
What Diana Kokosa teaches us is that you set that appointment and you give them an option. Are you available? Is morning or afternoon better? That requires them to answer, okay? And you're not being wishy-washy about it. If they say morning, okay, well, I have Tuesday at 10 a.m. or Wednesday at 11 a.m. That also, it forces them to pick one.
Okay.
If they say Tuesday at 11 a.m., I get there like at 5 minutes before I'm supposed to be there, and I sit in my car until a minute before. And then you walk up to the door, you knock on the door, step back a little bit so that you're not so in their face. And then you say, hi, Mrs. Seller. I'm Benita with Keller Williams. We had an appointment for 10 a.m. and it's 10 a.m. That way they know that you're punctual and professional. And also I want to go back to the motivation. I don't like to use the word motivation. I don't like to say, well, what is your motivation for selling your house? Because it makes the seller, or it may make the seller feel like, kind of off-putting, if they're going through a foreclosure. What's your motivation for selling the house? And then they have to say, oh, well, I haven't made payments in 3 months and it's about to be foreclosed on. So I would just say, why are you moving? And just keep probing into why, because it's very important. If you understand the motivation for why they're moving, it's easier to convert that lead to a closing. Okay. You want to create a reciprocal relationship back and forth with them, because in that listing presentation, at some point you want to ask them for a referral. Okay. Okay, back here.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
How is everyone getting all of this done with the social distancing thing, with the meetings and trying to do face-to-face with people that, you may not know and you're going to their house? I mean, how is everyone dealing with that?
Well, I actually just took a listing, and I did it basically by phone, by text, and I explained to the seller, right now, actually it's not, it's a lessor, she's a landlord, okay, but I took the lease listing, okay? And so first I asked her if she felt comfortable with me bringing buyers into her house while there's a tenant there. So we agreed that we won't do any showings until after the tenant vacates. But I asked her, send me some pictures. You want them to give you proof that they own the property. And I asked her to send me a video So she sent me a video. I viewed the property via video, and then I put the listing into the MLS. And then in the agent notes, I said, due to the corona pandemic, you know, there won't be any showings until May 15. And then I sent her the listing agreement by DocuSign. She signed it, sent it back to me.
So Jimmy, one other thing you can do is exactly what we're doing now. So you can have a consultation with the seller via Zoom or via FaceTime. They can tour the property. If you have them on FaceTime, they can actually go around, because at this point it's a team effort. So your sellers are just, you know, they're motivated to sell. They're, you know, this is a new way of doing business. So you can use video in more than ever now.
Can you put video on the MLS?
I haven't figured out how to do that yet. So what I did in my agent remarks was I asked the buyer or the, you know, the tenant side of the deal, if you want a video, please just contact me and I will text them the video. But Deidre or Nicole, anyone else, DeQuanis, is there a way in the MLS to put the video up? I'm sure there has to be.
There is, but I'm not sure how. When I'm in front of my computer, I'll figure it out. But there's a way that you can, because I used to put the little virtual tour video.
There's actually 2 ways now, and there's actually what they call like a Zoom lab every Tuesday. I think it's at 2 o'clock, where one of the Nomar people, they're doing an hour-long seminar to show you how to do the visual presentations and put them on the MLS.
Okay. All right, well, what we want to do is we want to make the best use of our time. So we have to be willing to, you know, pick up that phone and pre-qualify those sellers rather than just expecting that each seller is going to become an appointment, okay? So well, we talked about the benefits of that. But so first you want to understand the seller's motivation. You want to position yourself as the expert, which you'll do with your pre-listing packet. You want to get there and you want to win the listing. Let me ask somebody this. If you knock on the door, knock, hey seller, I'm Benita with Keller Williams. We had an appointment at 9 o'clock and it's 9 o'clock. And you walk in the door and the seller said, you know, the seller says, oh, well, great. I'm so glad that you're going to list my house. What are you going to do?
Give them the paperwork to sign it.
That's right. And Bashay says, sign here, press hard. So you don't have to waste time going through your whole listing presentation. You know, if they're ready to sign them up, okay? And I don't know if you guys know it or not, but I'm also a lawyer. So when I'm in court, the judge will sometimes tell the other side, look, you're winning, sit down. You know, you don't want to beat a dead horse. So sign here, press hard, okay?
Ms. Benita, when do you like the fact that after they sign the paperwork, you come back the next day and put the signs out and get the pictures done?
No, I have my signs in my car.
Oh.
Yeah, I have my signs in my car. Once they sign that listing agreement, you can market that property. But you have to make sure that once you put that sign in the yard, you know how you have 3 days to get your listing agreement in the MLS?
Yes.
If you put that sign in the yard, you have 24 hours. You have to get that in the MLS under the new rules.
Okay.
So just remember that it's not 72 hours if you start marketing the property. As soon as you put that sign up, you have 24 hours to get that listing in the MLS.
Okay.
Okay.
You have a real good listing, you'll get a call before you get back to the office.
Hey.
Happened.
Pre-qualifying sellers also allows you to price the home to sell for the most amount of money in the shortest time frame, and it allows you to properly set seller expectations, allowing you to create a great customer experience. When we talked about the comps, I think it was Tonda who talked about the comps. So what I like to do is I take, you know, 3 comps, at least 3 comps. If you have a lot of comps, you know, you can have the seller look through those comps and say, okay, this house in this condition sold for this amount, this house sold for this amount, this house sold for that amount. Which one of these houses do you believe closely match your house? Because what I like to do is let them, if they can, come to the conclusion that this is the price. Because you want to set their expectation. I had to, I did a listing presentation, and the sellers just wanted way too much money for their house, for the neighborhood. And they have, what they did was they put so many upgrades in the house. It was gorgeous. But they put so many upgrades in the house that they outpriced the house for the neighborhood. Okay. So you don't want to, I wouldn't want to take that listing because you're not going to sell that house. Okay. So you want to manage their expectations by kind of letting them pick the price. Or you can put the 3 comps out there and say, okay, if you were buying a house, which one of these houses would you buy and why? Okay. Can anybody give me a real life example of an experience where you had to pre-qualify a seller and it helped you determine their motivation and save you some time?
When you get a minute, Benita, I have a question. I wanted to know if the seller wants to list a property and it's overpriced, and his price is overpriced, how much over the price would it have to be for me to decline taking his property to list it?
I'm not going to list a house if I can't sell it. Okay. So it kind of just depends on what it is. I mean, Rita, are you still on the line?
Yes, I am.
You want to tell them about your house on Pierce?
Okay. The house I had on Pierce was duplex. One side the owner lived on, the other side was gutted and vacant. And I didn't know what to price the house for, so I had to get an appraisal done because it was kind of difficult to come up with a price. So when the appraisal was done, the appraisal came up at $450,000, but the owner wanted me to sell the house at $475 and was adamant about it because she wanted me to sell at $475 because she figured if she sold at $475, she'll actually get the $450 for it. And she and I went on back and forth for a while. So what I did was, I did price it at $475, but another agent came in and they offered the price of $425 and she took it. But it was in a very nice neighborhood right there in Mid-City, right behind Jesuit. So I knew the house was going to sell. I knew it wasn't going to sell for that price, but it was a problem because she was fighting on the price. No matter how I told her the house should go for $450, she was adamant about $475. And it was a friend of mine, so I went ahead and did, but that was a big mistake. I should have never done that, and I would never do it again.
And Rita, how long was it on the market for?
It was in the market. I priced the house, I got it in September, and the house went under contract in November. It had people who were, clients who would go see the house, but the price the house priced for, they wouldn't offer that. So finally, someone came and said, "Okay, I'll give you $425," and she took it.
Okay. I had a listing on a vacant lot, and the seller had gone and gotten an appraisal like the month before he came to me to list it. And the appraisal came back at $250. And he wanted to list the house for like $350. I mean, the lot, I'm sorry, it's a lot. He wanted to list it for $350 because he wanted $350. Well, I had to manage his expectations and say, listen, nobody's gonna pay $350 for a lot that you already know is only worth $250, okay? So if he was adamant about that $350 price, I would not have taken the listing. I said, why don't we do the right thing and just go ahead and price it for what we know it's worth? And then if a bunch of people come in, then that will raise the price, because if you create a bidding war, the price goes up. So we ended up putting the property under contract in like 2 days at $35,000 above asking. But if I had said, oh, you know, okay, I just want the listing, then that house, the lot would have just sat and sat and sat and sat. And you don't want to, like I say, take a listing if you know you can't sell it. Okay. So what we're going to do right now is look at the listing presentation in Command so we can use it to see how we're going to construct our pre-listing packet. Okay.
Anita, before you go on, this is Nicole. Another pricing strategy. So say there's a difference of like $10,000 or $15,000 and your seller is adamant about that price. What I do usually is that I'll have what's called a pricing strategy sheet. So ahead of time at that listing consultation, I'm talking to them about, okay, we're gonna list it at this price because it's within range. It's not like way above price. And if we don't get any showings or no offers within 2 weeks, we're doing a price reduction. And they're signing that price reduction ahead of time. So when it comes 2 weeks and we don't meet those expectations, then they already know ahead of time we're doing a price reduction. So I put those expectations up front so that I won't have an issue when we need to do a price reduction. But again, that's only if we're within 10,000 or so, you know, difference. I'm not going to do it for a $50,000 difference. I'm not going to take the listing.
Right. And like Nicole said, this will already be in your listing agreement, so you don't have to have the uncomfortable conversation going back and asking the seller to reduce the price. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to just log into Command and look at the listing presentation and design. I'm gonna show you something. So you go to Command. And then you have your icons on the side right here.
I think she is. We had one ball the whole time.
Let me see who that is.
Someone needs to.
Okay. All right, so you have your icons on the side. You click on Designs. Then you go to this plus sign and you click on the plus sign. Hey, Jody. And then you're going to click on Print. Next. Click on Listings, Listing Presentation, and it gives you two options. Okay. You can pick this one. And then you can modify this listing presentation to your needs. Okay. If you guys need any help with this, you can contact me or Katie.
Is there a difference between that one and the one in Core? Are they the same, basically?
I don't know.
Because I saw one in Core. I didn't even realize, well, I should have known that that one was in Command, but I came across the one in Core the other day.
Okay.
Yeah, basically the same stuff that's in Core is in Command.
Okay. Okay. Right. But then you want to personalize this with all your information. Okay. All right. And like I said, the importance of having this is that you want to position yourself to be the expert. Okay. And like I said, this will answer a lot of their questions before you even get there. And hopefully when you get there, they'll be ready to sign here first. Okay. Katie, do you guys want to practice a listing presentation? Hello.
You called my name, Bonita?
Yeah. Do we want them to practice a listing presentation?
Whatever you think. Whatever, what everybody wants.
Does anybody feel comfortable? Stephanie, you want to do
Do it.
it?
Yes, I'll do it.
Okay. Anybody else? Want to be? Stephanie, you be the agent. I'll be the seller.
Okay. Now, do I have a script to follow like they had a little while ago just for the pre-listing presentation?
Oh, no, I don't have a script.
Okay.
Come on, Stephanie, you just can't wing it. I'm just kidding.
No, you should be able to.
I'm just kidding.
You got it.
I got it.
You got, do you have this? Because this is basically what you're gonna go through.
Because I'm not a Keller Williams agent.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's okay. No problem.
Okay. Well, I'll just quickly go through it.
How about we switch roles?
Yeah. Knock, knock, knock.
Hello.
Hey, Stephanie, it's Benita. I'm with Keller Williams, and we had an appointment for 11 o'clock, and it's 11 o'clock.
Well, welcome. Come on in.
Great.
You're at my home, right? Or we're not doing any of this electronic. We're doing this in person.
Yeah, this is in person.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna ask, you mind if we sit at the kitchen table?
Not a problem. Come on in.
And then I'll open up
Some
my
coffee
laptop.
or some juice or anything.
Oh, water would be great. Thank you.
All right. Let me go get you some water. Come back with some water. Here you go.
Okay.
Have a
Now,
seat.
what we do is we have a seller's questionnaire that we give the seller and have them sit down and fill this out. Say, okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to just take a few minutes to walk around and look at the house, and if you don't mind. And then you want them to sit down so you can go and view the house. Okay. If they insist, oh, let me show you this and let me show you that, then you want to explain to them that you're the expert in the neighborhood. And I can do this really quickly because I'm going to look at your house through a buyer's eyes, and I can't do that if the seller's walking around with me, right? I just want to look at your house through buyer's eyes first, and then after I'm done, if you have any questions or if you have anything specific that you want to show me, we can walk around and we can do that too. Okay.
Okay.
So then you go look around, let them do that. Then you come back and you sit down, and then you just take them through the presentation. And then you show them the comps. And this
Anita, do you take, I'm sorry to interrupt. Do you take any photos in your initial walk around? Would you take any photos? Ask their permission, of course.
Yeah.
But would you? Okay.
I take photos, and I do ask them, do you mind if I take pictures? And I take a video. Okay. All right. And then, like I said, you show them the comps, you discuss the neighborhood. And then, like we already talked about, you let them pick the one. Okay. You explain to them how you find buyers for their property. And what we do is we tell them, most agents do what we call the 3 Ps. They put a sign in your yard, put your home in the MLS, and then they pray somebody else sells it. But we at Keller Williams, we do a 4th P, which is we actively prospect for buyers every day for your home. We put your home in over 300 different websites. We put it in the MLS. We market it to our own agents once a week at our weekly meeting. And then if you're going to host an open house, you tell them, you're going to host an open house. But you want them to understand that the open house is not really, there's really a small percentage of homes that actually sell at the open house, okay? But if you have a seller that's wanting you to do an open house every weekend, you need to explain to them what all that's going to do is, if you hold an open house at somebody else's house, then that might gear buyers to buy your house, okay? So you don't want to be spending money having an open house every weekend, but you want to explain that and manage their expectations, okay? You do your media plan and explain to them you're going to do social media or however you're going to market it through all the different websites, through your specific Keller Williams website, and through your app. And then you want to give them your open house strategy. And I'm just going to go through this. If you have numbers, You explain to them and show them how you get homes sold. You want them to understand that you are the expert. You get homes sold fast in the shortest amount of time. If you're a new agent and you don't have your numbers, you can use your market center's numbers, okay? You want to make sure that you have client testimonials. And if you have any special credentials or anything, put that in there. These pages are where you would put the homes that you've sold. And then, you promise to do the best you can to get their home sold, bottom line, and that's the end. You put your information at the end. Okay. Any questions? Anybody have any questions?
I just want to add that whole listed presentation that we have is customizable. So if you wanted to take out pages, you certainly can. So for instance, if you didn't have client testimonials at this time, just take them out. So you have to customize it to what you're going to do and what your value is for the seller. So there are certain marketing strategies you may or may not do. For instance, if it's an open house and that's not what you do, then you can take that out. So just customize it to what you feel comfortable because you're going to have to know what's in your own listing presentation.
Right. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on today's material at all? Any questions? Anything you want to ask the seasoned attorneys? Seasoned real estate agents? Deidre?
Okay, so let's talk about customizing for the world we're in now, the virtual world. So would we do a Zoom where we would have the presentation on a shared screen? If we had a client that was tech or even partially tech savvy, because if you have an older client, then this might not be what you have to do for them. But would this be something where we would put our listing presentation and do a Zoom or FaceTime call and then do it that way?
Yes, you can do that because if you have somebody that can do the Zoom, you can share your screen just like I did, okay? But if you have any notes or anything, you just want to make sure you have your notes on a separate device so that they can't see your notes, okay? And we did that. Okay.
You're doing a great job, Anita. You have done a great job, and I want to thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that because I've been up since 3 o'clock, sick as a dog.
Oh, well, thank you.
I'm
for
good
being
now.
faithful and committed.
Has your thinking changed about listing presentations since since we've had this presentation? You
Yes.
have any? Tell us how.
More organized and some information, questions that I didn't think about asking. I can't think of any. There was one, but I can't remember what it was. But I thought about that. I said, oh, I didn't think to, think that was important, or didn't know. Let's just say I hadn't highlighted it, and that's going to be definitely a part of the presentation right now. Also, that I need more practice. I need to practice my listing presentation more often because actually I had 3 listings that I'll be presenting this week.
Okay. And you want to make sure that your pre-listing packet is it's exciting and something for them to say, oh wow, she really knows what she's doing, because you want to position yourself as the expert. What I did was I created mine in a little booklet. So they're not just getting a flyer or a bunch of pages, and people are less likely to throw away a book than they would, some other stuff that they think is just advertising material. Okay.
And it only takes a little while to customize it because it's already been done for us, right?
Right.
All we have to do is swap out pictures, swap out wording. So it's at our fingertips. It should take you no more than an hour to customize your own listing presentation.
Right. And like I said at the beginning, that's the beauty of Keller Williams. You really don't have to reinvent the wheel on anything. Anything that you need is right at your fingertips in your toolkit and in command. Okay.
And if I can add a strategy that Jeremy shared with me a few weeks ago, is when our market is, when they say we are out of quarantine and we can come out and we start getting all of those listings, if we would look at pricing our listing right under the actual value and create a multiple offer situation to get them that asking price that they wanted or more, and to get it sold quickly.
Right. Right.
One of the strategies that some of you were on a call yesterday morning, and if you notice, there's a lot of expired and withdrawn listings because people are taking their houses off the market because of the fear of what's going on. So if you can overcome that fear, you could probably win some expires and withdrawn listings right now. So you have to give them a reason why in this market homes are still selling, because interest rates are low. And if you can assure them that you're going to have all the precautions necessary for people to see their property, then you may be able to win some withdrawn or expired listings right now.
Okay. All right. Can anyone tell me anything that they would do differently now?
Send out the pre-listing packet to give them idea of what, they'll need to gather or know when we do get together to take the list.
Yeah, and you definitely want to make sure you pre-qualify that seller. Okay.
In your pre-listing staff, please don't send the comps, because you want to wait till you actually are in person to go over comps. In that pre-listing is basically things about yourself and what you do to market, or just some basic information. You might even have client testimonials, and that it's sort of like your resume that you're going to be providing ahead of time.
Right. Right. Okay. Daily success habits. Who's doing this? Who's adding 10 contacts to their database every day?
Well, maybe not 10, but some.
Okay, so successful real estate agents will add at least 10 contacts to their database every day. You want to have at least 10 conversations with somebody every day. This is something I need to work on, doing the handwritten notes. And then you want to make sure you preview those homes, because you want to make sure you know everything that's on the market. I had a buyer who came in and she said, oh, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for. And I was able to say, oh, pull it up on the MLS and show them in your buyer's presentation, this is a house. Because if you know everything that's on the market, then you can take them straight to what it is that they're looking for. And that'll save you a lot of time in showing and driving around, showing a whole bunch of stuff. Okay.
What I've been doing is the areas that I work in or want to work in most, I get updates about what's going on in the neighborhood, what's listed, sold, or the activity in that neighborhood 3 times a week. Okay.
Okay. And then daily successful habits should also, in addition to building your database, you want to script practice. Does everybody have a script partner? Okay, Jimmy, everybody, you should make sure that you get everybody. Jimmy's the only one who doesn't?
Jimmy, I can be yours.
I don't have one, Bonita. But I text Nicole. I text you when you text me last week, and I text you to inform you that I didn't have a script partner. I don't know if you received it or not.
For all of the PC agents, I'm working on putting together script partners, and I'll be sending that out today.
Okay. Okay. I wanted to take you back to this conversation, having 10 conversations a day. You want to make sure you're talking to people, but a good trick that I've been using is I send a text message, or in Facebook or Instagram, I send a DM or an IM. And I basically just say, hey, so-and-so, I just want to remind you that I'm doing real estate now. And I was wondering if you are interested in buying, selling, or investing in real estate, or if you know someone who is. And then if they text you back, then you can call them and have that conversation. So it's easy. It's easier for me to have the 10 conversations if I've sent out 100 messages and have people contacting me back. So that's the strategy that you guys can use. And if you need that script, let me know. I'll send it to you. Okay.
Add the script in the
do
follow-up
these-
notes.
Hmm?
Can you add the script in the follow-up notes?
Yeah. Yeah, I can do that. I'll send it to Katie and she can get that to you guys. Okay. All right.
Do these care calls where you're calling your client, well, your contacts in your in your database, seeing how they are, does that count as like the 10 conversations?
Yes, that's a contact. You want to make sure, well, yeah, that's a contact. And right now, normally in this conversation, if I find out or if I feel that the person that I'm talking to isn't ready to move right now, then you want to say, oh, well, thank you for thinking about that. Can you think of anybody else at work, school, or whatever that may be interested in buying or selling? But right now, I'm not doing that. Okay, I'm contacting my people saying, hey, I just I hadn't talked to you in a while. I just wanted to see how you're making out. It's a hard time for everybody right now. A lot of people are dying, so I don't want to push the business. Okay.
Okay, I got you.
I have some clients. I had one of my former buyers. I just called him to see how he was doing. He had corona, and so I just wanted to see how you're doing. What if you need me to do anything for you, I can, whatever you need me to do. Drop something off to your family or whatever. I had another client who's the landlord, and she's getting hit hard because she's not getting any rent money. So I had seen a link on Instagram, and then I kind of lost it. So I contacted DeQuanis and asked him, can you send me that link again? He did. And so I sent it to my client. And I said, it was a rental assistance website to where her tenants could apply for rental assistance to pay her. And then I also sent her the information on the SBA and the link to get unemployment, because now unemployment is supposed to apply to self-employed, contractors like ourselves. So any way that you can add value to somebody else's life, just, do that. I'm making masks. If my clients are in the healthcare profession, because I've had one client who's a nurse, she said that they're giving them one mask and they have to wear it for a full 16-hour shift, take it off, put it in a Ziploc bag, and put it on the dashboard in their car so the heat can kill any virus that's on there, and then wear the mask the next day. That's ridiculous. So I'm doing that. I'm making masks for them, and then I have a pouch where they can take the filter out, put a new filter in, wash it in hot water, and wear it again. So, but anything that you can do. Sometimes people just want to talk. I mean, they're tired of being in the house by themselves. I have another client who she's single, and she said, you know what, this is the one time where I'm happy to be single, because she doesn't have anybody in her house and she don't have to be around anybody. But, she was happy to just get a phone call,
And can I add something, Benita?
Go ahead.
When we're making those care calls and asking our clients, how they're doing, they are going to ask how you are. And when they ask how you are, you tell them, oh, I'm good, still working, still helping, my clients that need help. If you need anything right now, just let me know. So it's not that you're throwing it in their face. You're coming from contribution, asking how they are. But then when they ask you how you are, you're just opening that door.
Right. That's good. I posted yesterday, I think it was yesterday, if you can choose a spouse online, you can choose your house online. Because a lot of people
I love that.
a lot of people are leery about the whole virtual thing. And it's just like, I think Deidre said, or maybe it was Nicole, but a lot of the people are withdrawing their homes. You know, they're scared. But you just have to bring them back and say, look, this is just the way it is now. Things are just changing. You know, 15 years ago, I had one of my best friends, her niece met a guy online, maybe it was 20 years ago, when dating online was not popular, okay? She almost disowned this girl for picking her husband online. And I would tell you, they're still married. So if you can pick your spouse online, you can pick your house online. They've had people buying houses sight unseen before. I mean, you know, even before all of this happened. So you just have to make them feel comfortable. And if they feel comfortable with you, then I think they'll feel comfortable with this new process.
And the fact of the matter is, we are still open for business. I'm sitting at an inspection right now. I'm in my car, but I'm at an inspection. And I have 3 listings that I'm about to put on the market. And one is somebody that's looking to buy, and they want to sell because they need to buy right now with the rates being so low.
Okay, so when I talk to them and ask how they're doing, and they ask how I'm doing, you know, should I tell them that, you know, I'm just coming out of recovery from the coronavirus, so I understand, you know, the impacts and all of the things that you go through when you're going through something like this, or just say, oh, I'm doing fine and go on with my business.
No, share your story. That makes sense.
Wait. Yeah, Jimmy,
Okay,
share
so
your
tell them,
story.
say, hey, I'm just coming out of recovery and, you know, I'm back in business. So, you know, I'm here to help you with all your needs.
Oh, I didn't know that you had it. I'm so sorry, Jimmy, but I'm glad to see you looking good.
Yeah, Jimmy, you look good.
Thank you. I hate this oxygen thing and trying to take all my different measurements all the time. But yeah, I got out of the hospital last Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Glad to hear.
that is good.
Thank you. It was
Walking
12,
testimony.
12
Exactly.
It was 12 days of hell, let me tell you.
Yeah. I shared my story too, because I lost a friend, a very good friend of mine, and he and his wife died within 3 days of each other. And then I lost my grandmother. We don't know whether she had corona or not, because she was in a nursing home in Ohio. And about a month ago, they stopped us from seeing her, a month before she died. And so my aunt was going every day. And so I just feel horrible, because I feel like she had to die without anybody being there. And that's the worst thing I think that can happen, is that you die by yourself. You know,